Welcome back to the live webinar series Sustainable Biosolutions 2020. So, today we will have the speaker Hari Kumar who will be talking about bioprocessing applications and future perspectives. Before we begin with the session, we would like to give a short introduction about who we are. So Biomol.in is India's first and world's leading online portal where you can buy A to Z all kinds of laboratory and diagnostic products. So if your lab is already started or if it is going to start after the lockdown and you need anything, please do visit Biomol.in. And also if you need any protection equipments, any diagnostic kits, test kits, reagents that is required for COVID, please do visit biomol.in. You will find everything that you need. Now, may I request Dr. Koshi Kumar, the Assistant Professor at the Department of Biotechnology, Weltec Rangarajan, Dr. Saguntala, R&D Institute of Science and Technology, to please proceed with the session.
Weltec Chennai was established in year 1997 by Dr. Rangarajan and Dr. Saguntala Rangarajan. The institution private deemed to be university and is ranked number 5 in the country by MHRD for innovations and has a diamond rating from iGOTS, 43rd among Asian universities in Times Higher Education and World Ranking. Our Department of Biotechnology aims to create and promote upskilled graduates with a professional attitude who are industry ready. So we are happy to introduce speaker for this session, Mr. Hari Kumar, Vice President of Life Science Division Lab, India Analytical Instruments Private Limited, Bangalore. As an entrepreneur and life science lab instrument consultant, Mr. Hari Kumar has over 30 years of experience in the business of laboratory instrument and equipment for life sciences, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, environmental sciences, and molecular diagnostics. He is very well recognized for identification, acquisition, launching, and establishing different scientific tools for the first time in India for R&D, quality control, and manufacturing fields. Among his current role at Lab India Analytica, he is also managing director of his own distribution business, JH Bio Innovations Private Limited, Bangalore. And he is also a prestigious member for Board of Studies at Weltec University. So now I pass on the podium to Hari Kumar over there. So you can carry on.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Hari Kumar. I'm Vice President of Life Science Division of Lab India Instruments, based out of Bangalore. So today we would like to discuss about bioprocessing, applications, and recent advances. Okay. So, like yesterday, Dr. Manoj started, I would like to just start with a question. Can you please type what is the earliest indication of bioprocessing? Can you just type what is the earliest bioprocessing you know about? Not beer production. Okay. Wonderful. It is not curd. Fermentation is the process anyway. Penicillin is not one. Antibiotics is not one. Bioprocessing is the production of metabolites. Okay, I'm just asking you, when is the earliest bioprocessing we have known? Okay, let me just go ahead. I think we have around 1.5 kilos of gut bacteria in everybody's stomach. So all the food that we take gets converted into absorbable components by gut bacteria. Okay, this is almost Darwin's evolution. Whenever we have been evolving, that from that time it is happening. Okay, so I will just go. So history by bioprocessing. So gut bacteria is the first one, as I know. But we also know about idli, dosa, dokla, and all that. So without bacteria, I don't think we can have idli, dosa, dokla. Okay, curd and yogurt is another one. And we our old generation people, they used to have all the Surapanam or Madira, people used to call, maybe even Ramayana time or whatever. So beer and dot dot, I think you know better than me because I am 57. Okay, you are all youngsters probably. So history of bioprocessing, uh, all the therapeutic medicines that we get out of bioprocessing is called biologics. So there is some insulin, MAPS, monoclonal antibodies. We can produce fragrances, enzymes in meat. Probably you may be knowing that recently there has been a lot of activity of growing meat in the lab. So you may call it a vegetarian meat. There have been not less than 100 million to 150 million investments made into it, and a lot of companies are working into it. So when we actually look at cost of the meat production, it is at least 2 to 3 times the cost of vegetarian food. So it also per capita water consumption is much higher than per capita water consumption per kilo of vegetarian food. So biotechnology is being used for wide variety of things nowadays. So it's a big subject, emerging subject. So if you just look at this slide, there are a lot of colors that come from the vegetable sources or plant sources, a lot of essential oils, sweeteners, flavors, and pharmaceuticals. Lot of things come from plant sources. So recombinant product also just comes. So applications are quite wide, very wide. So it's sky is the limit. So if you look at this slide, you can just see that there's a big history of fermentation products, right from brewing, which is 6000 BC, 2400 BC. This is the first brewers process complete description in the Egyptian. Then in 1680, yeast under microscope. Then 1835, alcoholic fermentation, etc. I think most of these things are available on the internet. You can just see. But my idea of putting this together is to just show that it has been a very long history of bioprocess. And so when we just look at the history, pre-1940s, people used to produce baker's yeast, a lot of solvents, organic acids, and amino acids. So pre-1980s, a lot of probiotics, antibiotics, enzymes, vaccines, biosurfactants, so biopolymers, all these things are produced. Okay. Recently, the activity is quite high in biopharmaceuticals, proteins, MABs, plant bioactive compounds, biodiesel, and that X is maybe lab meat to whatever. It can go on. So if anybody has any questions, you can just ask me. So what is bioprocessing? See, bioprocessing is naturally or genetically manipulated whole cells, tissues, organs, or parts thereof for production of industrially, medically important products. So there are a lot of products we have seen in the food sector, food and beverage, and there are a lot of things also for lot of industrial chemicals, especially organic acids and other things. You have a lot of flavors and fragrances, DNA for gene therapy. Probably you know that even for cancer, these days these gene therapies are being used. Okay, a lot of production of antibiotics, then proteins and hormones, etc. See, from time immemorial, throughout the evolution, we have had internal disease fighting mechanism in our own body. So whatever, maybe TB, maybe typhoid, maybe XYZ, anything that we contract, the body produces antibodies, and it produces its own defense mechanism. So of late, what is happening is most of the pharmaceuticals are being produced through biosource because it is much easier and also much more personalized. Okay, for example, for cancer, people have identified something like 17, 18 genes. Whoever has oncology problem, their blood is diagnosed or screened for all these genes. Based on whatever gene is identified as cause, they treat them with that particular type of medicine. Okay, it is very, very important that in personalized medicine, and especially biologics or biosimilars or biopharmaceuticals, recent trend is that it is more and more moving from chemical based drugs to biological based drugs. So you may be knowing Biocon and even Pune based what is that, Serum Institute. Several companies are in the forefront, not only for vaccines, but also for a lot of biopharmaceutical compounds, therapeutics. So there is a lot of activity going on, research, wherein people are identifying good molecules and they are just out licensing for the development of this. Okay, so lot of activity is going there. So, for example, some of the major industrial fermentation products. So, when you see the product, citric acid, it is used in as a food additive, whatever. Then ethanol as a fuel, glutamate, a flavoring agent, lactic acid in foods and plastics, lysine as feed, penicillin as pharmaceutical. So what we do not understand is there are a lot of applications, a lot of products being produced and distributed, which we may not be knowing. So we do not actually focus and try to learn what is going on in this spectrum. So can you see this? Slide is visible? Okay. So here also we have a lot of stages of industrial biotechnology, from 1900 to date. A lot of things I'm unable to read here because the slide is very small here. Okay, now this is better. Yeah. So in bioprocessing, what we need to do is we are using the microbes, maybe bacteria, fungi, whatever, or some of the cells. Okay, when we use some genetic manipulation to make them produce whatever product we want. So this is normally very vogue now, and there is a big process of developing all these things. So what we do is normally at the small scale, people do it on a shake flask, and then they transfer that and improvise on a benchtop fermenters, lab scale, and then they move it to pilot scale, and then production. Okay, so in this there are a lot of variables that are involved. What we are dealing with is microorganisms, very sensitive. They are sensitive to temperature, pH, even any of chemicals. They are very sensitive to food, like media that we have to give. We have to optimize media, which is idli vada for them. Whatever they want to, we have to optimize it with lot of micronutrients and other things. Okay, and we also have to see that they get sufficient oxygen. That is, we need to have dissolved oxygen, good dissolved oxygen, and all the fermenters process produces lot of effervescence and foam. So we need to have a plan how to control it. We use normally anti-foam agents. Okay, so this is a big thing. So then we scale it up to pilot scale, and then production scale. So a lot of things are involved. Once we produce them in industrial scale, we also have to see that we extract whatever is product that we need to have. Sometimes it is the metabolites, whatever. So what we have to do, we have to process the broth and separate all the different things and get whatever product we want. Okay, that is the total process. So this slide is extremely good. On the left hand side, you have a USP, upstream processing we call it. On the right-hand side, you have downstream processing. So first and foremost, we need to have a clear idea of the product. For example, if you want to produce insulin, so insulin you want to produce, how to get it produced? So which microorganisms, whether it is bacteria or fungi or cells, whatever, we need to just take this. And we also have to just alter the genes in such a way that they produce the insulin. And here the production also is very important. Some strains of microorganisms may produce little less quantity, some produce much higher, or sometimes maybe with some other combination of the media or additives and all that, they may produce much better. Okay, it is almost like piggery, poultry, or whatever. They also, we are growing, we are feeding. So many a times I feel really sorry for the human beings, especially a lot of people are having no air conditioning, even fans, especially in the northern India, in so many places. But we take care of these all microorganisms in such a way that they always are happy. Okay. So then selection of the producing organism, then strain screening. So if you are going to use yeast, in yeast you will have several strains of yeast. You will have different genotypes, like you have in say rice or wheat or whatever. You have different types of mangoes, XYZ. Okay. Same way we have in each and every microorganism, you have different strains. So we have to just screen the strains in order to know which one gives much better yield and which strains are easy to manage. Because some strains, if they are too sensitive for temperature, too sensitive for pH, all those things. Because if we want to maintain and produce all the products that we want, it is very important that expenses also are less. For example, some of the imported breeds of cows, they can't withstand the temperature. So when in summers, many cows die, or we have to keep it in an air conditioning. Even for humans, many times it is not available. So it is all very important for us to screening the strain to get a better one. Okay, and then formulation medium requirements. I just told you whether you have to feed them rice or wheat or oats or whatever. So different types of medium and different additives and then different micronutrients, etc. Okay, maybe different things there. Okay, so then medium optimization. So this is again formulation and optimization. We need to just run these things several times based on temperature. Everything we need to optimize. Like temperature you have to optimize, pH you have to optimize, then media you have to optimize. Your ultimate goal is to get the best output with limited or cost of production. Okay, then we just move it to small scale bioreactors. So we just do it. See here, one of the major important things is we need to maintain the temperature. Temperature is always controlled with no temperature controller, either cooler or heater, both. Mostly 90%, 99%, all these fermentations will produce heat, exothermic. So we may have to cool them. Okay, we cool them with by circulating water through the pipes inside. Okay, so what happens is it is very important that heat is distributed uniformly, because when you have 5-liter or 10-liter fermenters, you have such a big population of microbes. They will be suspended in the medium. You need to see that they are all having very uniform temperature, uniform availability of oxygen, and then temperature, oxygen, and media, and all those things. So the technology, biotechnology, is to make these microbes have the same environment, optimized environment, so that they give maximum output. And then we have fed batch. Then fed batch is actually, see, suppose you are doing in 2000 liters. You have a seed of 10 ml, 20 ml, or 1 liter of inoculation bacteria, whatever. So you don't want to full 2000 liters, but you may fill around 10 liters or 20 liters. Normally, when it is started, it takes some time for acclimatizing, and then they start growing. So they will reach an exponential growth rate, and after some time they come to stagnation or static mode, saturation mode. So then we just take out. So what they do is, normally they may start with 100 or 200 liters. Up to 2000, as these grow well, they go ahead and keep adding. That is called a fed batch. And up to 2000 liters it comes. Same way, they can just go more than 100 liters in pilot scale, and then they also get to know the process kinetics. Process kinetics, kinetics normally is with the time. With the time, what is the temperature, what is the stirrer speed, what is the oxygen or air, or whatever we have to produce. We have to provide all those things. And then if everything is fine, if yields are good conversion, good product, and all that, then they just send it for DSP, that is downstream processing. So you have whatever products you are aiming at, you have grown them, and they have reached that stage wherein you go for extraction of your product. Suppose the yields are not worthwhile, so you go back and do some medium optimization, or go back and improve the strain improvement. Okay, nowadays we have some internationally, we have some biofabs. Whatever improvements they want to make in the DNA and all that, with Cas9 and all that, they improve the strain, make it produce better, and then go all over again. Because normally when it is lab, it is more of science. When it is to industry, it is more of money. It's, suppose I can produce 1 kilo of gold by spending 1 crore. It is not worth. Okay, it is not worth. Absolutely no worth. So, lab is always quality. Industry means it is the cost and profit. Okay, so this is how it is done. And then when we go all over, if this is okay, upstream is okay, then we go to downstream processing. So downstream processing, say for example, you are doing it in 1,000 or 2,000 liters, you have to break the cell walls and all that. So you have some equipment there. And then you have also some centrifugation, wherein you would like to just filter out all the cell debris and all the things, and then you will have macromolecules and some ions, some water, and some other metabolites and all that. So concentration, crystallization, fill finish, storage properties and stability. See, most of the bioreactors, we produce proteins. Proteins are highly unstable. You may be knowing that they have a property called folding. So they are very unstable with the temperature, with pressure and all that. So we need to do a lot of studies to make it stable. Okay, and how we use the process. And then we do field trials. Suppose nowadays we are in the grip of COVID, and a lot of companies are going ahead with producing therapeutics as well as vaccines. So everybody is on the move. So once they have some candidate molecule, so they have to first test it against COVID in a test tube, and then they have to just go and test it in vitro, and then they have to go for in vivo, and then preclinical trials, and then all that marketing and all those. But what is very important here is I'm extremely happy that there are at least 30 companies in India who are doing extremely well in this. They are just running extremely well. Yesterday morning, I got a phone call from one person. He just called, sir, we have designed a drug for COVID. It is through artificial intelligence and all that. I have published a paper. He has sent me the paper also. He was just asking, sir, I want a 24-hour lab access. Please tell me where to go. I asked him, what is that? What do you have? No, which lab you want? If you want, if your product is a macromolecule, whether you want to synthesize the product, you want to just get it through bioreactor, whatever. So many things are there. You have a synthesis lab separate. You have a bioprocess lab separate. Biochemistry, microbiology, so many things are there. Okay, so, but I'm very happy that so many people have so much of interest and enthusiasm. I would like to really appreciate the present government. In the last 4 to 5 years, they have really improved the innovation and excellence. BIRAC projects and all these things are extremely good, going on very good. So I think in biotechnology, especially for bioprocessing, this one slide is sufficient. If you go on studying, about each of these item, or process stage, that is more than sufficient for you. So you have a lot of requirements that you need on the left hand side. Oxygen is very, very important because for respiration of the cells, carbon and energy sources. Of course, all the food that for cells is mostly carbon oriented, and the nitrogen and other. Nitrogen is very essential because we need all the amino acids for proteins and whatnot, and of course other micronutrients. And we will have all the right hand side, the products that we will be getting. So we are very much interested in, sometimes we are interested in biomass, and sometimes we are interested in metabolites. So we need to just we need to just harvest them. So the equipment required is, we need fermenters, we need filtration units, we need continuous centrifuge, we need autoclaves, freeze dryers, process analytical technologies, instrumentation, and a lot of quality control instruments are required for this. So when I just go here, for example, there's a company called Bionet from Spain that we represent. They have F0 baby reactor. Here we have up from 1 liter or 2 liter to 5 liter, either microbial or cell culture bioreactors. And we have either 3 or 4 pumps integrated. One is for pH. Another one is, acid, base, and antifoam is required. And one more, if you want, you can use it for feed, media pumping and all that. And all these things are integrated with a software, which again is mostly a cloud-based software, and we can maintain everything over there through the software. Okay, and also we have a twin bioreactor, F1 twin we call it. Here, what happens is, whenever you are doing, see, for process optimization, you can just do it in 2 places with 2 different set of parameters. So you can just optimize what is good, what is bad. The advantage here is all the data that comes from both the fermenters will come into one single interface, wherein you can compare all the parameters that are coming. So that is one good benefit. It is not only for one run. Suppose you are running it, for 20 times, 30 times. All the 30 you can just plot one over the other, and you can easily see the advantage. And it will be also very good and useful if you want to out-license, or if you want to patent or out-license. Because you need to have proper data whenever you want to exploit that research. So this is a pilot scale bioreactor. So it can be either from sort of 100 liters to 300 liters. We can have, it's very well done, very, very well done. All the facilities are completely programmable, and very good one. Then this is one very interesting product that Bionet has come out with. It is called a tangential flow filtration system. See, for the downstream processing, we need to first filter all the particulate matter. So in the filtration, we may have to use microfiltration, ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis, or nanofiltration, whatever. So we have facility to utilize different types of techniques to get different data or different components separated. This is extremely good. What we have here is we have all the pressures or temperatures or torque, whatever. All the data will be available for you. Okay. Yeah, all types of filtration can be done. Yes, of course. So in this one, we have microfiltration and ultrafiltration. We have another one where we have a provision for nanofiltration and reverse osmosis. So you can really work out whatsoever you want, because whenever you want to go ahead with producing some product, it is very important to have all the parameters or all the scope of separating everything. So we have, recently this has been introduced. One of the very important thing here is um, this is designed to accept any of the filtration products from anybody. This is not a proprietary system. This is an open system accepting either Millipore or Sartorius or PAL or whatever. Either it could be cassettes, it could be microfiltration, ultrafiltration, tubes, or whatever. I can just provide you some information. One great thing is that it can be controlled, and all the data can be collected into the software, and you can really work well. So even these people have capability to establish the industrial scale bioreactors. So it's normally lab scale fermenters are easy to do, but when you want to just scale it up to pilot scale, and from there to commercial, you encounter a lot of problems. See, the whole idea is you need to maintain the same environment as you maintain in shake flasks to lab scale to whatever, pilot scale to all. So it is very important to have a proper height and diameter ratio. It is very important to have proper stirring, proper uniform DO, and you should have good control over different gases to be sent. And we have in this software we have cascade system of doing. It can be just DO can be controlled. Normally DO is controlled through higher steering speed. If that is not sufficient, it can trigger oxygen to be fed in, and things like that. It's fully automated. So what we also need is, we need lot of quality control instrumentation there. For example, you take cell culture. When you take cell culture at the inoculum stage, in the first day, whatever, of say 7 days or 10 days of fermentation cycle, you will have very low concentration of cells. So as it keeps moving, then the concentration keeps going up. So it will be more and more viscous and all that. So that can be tested by taking a sample. Here in this cell drop, there is no need for you to use any slides. So you can just pipette 1 microliter, like whatever way you do with your nano drop, whatever, and you can wipe it off. So there is no need of slides here. So this is one very good QC tool for the bio processing. And on the left-hand side, you have a micro-volume spectrophotometer and a fluorimeter. We can use to just visualize whatsoever protein concentrations, for example, DNA, RNA, protein concentrations, right from picograms per ml, picograms per nanoliter to nanograms per microliter to 37,000 nanogram per microliter. Because you need not even think whether it can read or not, because it has such a vast range. So it's very simple to use. We also deal with them. And I would like to just conclude that the world is moving away from fossil fuel based materials to biodegradable or biomass as a raw material. So it's very important. For example, we see that in Punjab, people just stubble firing is too much is there, and lot of problems there. But if we can just collect that and use as a raw material for producing some products, excellent it can be. Okay, and there is also a trend in the world that we call it cyclic economy. Cyclic economy means whatever we are utilizing or using, whatever waste comes out, that waste again comes as a raw material and something else is produced. Same. So it's a big trend now for the cyclic economy. So for cyclic economy, again, this is extremely good, extremely good. Bioreactors and all that. Internationally, nobody is going to touch the petroleum and all that. Probably most of you may be knowing that the trend is that by 2025, that is the peak demand for petroleum, then it is going to go down. Because photovoltaics are coming in a big way. In a recent tender, they have quoted just about 2 rupees 25 paisa per unit, which is very, very low. And in fact, thermal also is not able to withstand. Forget about fossil fuels and gas-fired electricity and all that. So anyway, COVID has made the life miserable for Gulf countries. Now we are having a lot of advantage because of price drop. So most of the pharma is moving from chemical to biopharma. This is another very, very important thing. So this is not a big thing. I think anybody and everybody can get in and do, because at whatever stage you are, you can find some partners to out-license that. This is how many people have done. In fact, you have a lot of advantages even to go for biosimilars. There are about some 120 drugs that are coming out in the next 3 to 4 years out of patents, wherein the total market potential for that is something like 600 billion. So it's again something extraordinary. We really do not need big facilities for this. And as it is, when I just look at it, due to large-scale implementation of these incubator centers. No, you can have access to all the equipment. You can really do wonders. So last one, of course, is vegetarian meat. And then there is no limitation for the applications. You need to just focus on it and just see. I think this is an exciting thing. I really thank you all very much, and thanks a
Thank you.
lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
I take leave.